The story begins 9 months after, where a woman is shown who is cutting an apple. She prays to God so that his nephew never gives up. She can never forgive the people who bullied her nephew. She wants her nephew to be mad at her. She shot the bullies and did everything she could do. All she wants is to punish the people who did this. She managed to punish the 8 people who did this to his nephew. All those bullies were suspended. Even the homeroom teacher and the superintendent were temporarily dismissed. She was not happy with the punishment given to those kids. She made flyers and posters on the web to get petition. She reached out to all the people on her contacts. She tried her best to let the people know. Even after that, news and articles could not be published. The police and prosecutors were powerless. Those who wanted to help were also chased away, and eventually she got into trouble. It was then she learned that the power of having money and influential family was so important, because all the people like police and reporters will dance on the hand of those people. She reveals that the suspension time of those bullies have already passed. Her brother-in-law and sister died at Wagwam. Gasoline was poured over them and burned to nothing. She could do nothing to stop that since the fire was too weak. By hearing this, Seong goes to the shock. Then a scene is shown where emergency ambulance arrives at the hospital. A boy who is in critical condition is being transferred to the hospital. There are 2 detectives who are shocked to see the condition of the kid. A radio message claiming 8 suspects, all wearing high school dresses, 6 boys and 2 girls, is seen at the scenes. The detective is shocked to find out that the boy was in near-death condition due to the middle schoolers' bullying. Another detective wants to catch them and is willing to take all the responsibility of the problems. Seong hears his aunt's voice calling him and slowly regains his consciousness. His aunt asks if he is awake and if he can hear her. He hears his aunt, and when he regains the bully's memory, he is shocked. To stabilize him, doctors give him anesthesia. Due to the drugs, he slowly loses his consciousness. During the moment of dizziness, he finds out that he was in coma for 9 months. After regaining his consciousness, he asks his aunt what had happened. His aunt struggles to tell him, but she slowly opens up and tells him everything eventually. He finds out that instead of helping his burning father and mother, people were busy filming with their smartphone. His mom embraced his burning dad, and those 2 passed away together while he was just sleeping. His aunt was able to send them to juvenile school. Even the parents of bullies apologized for what their children had done. While he was in coma, even the president came to visit him. He was compensated for his parents' death. After 2 years' time passes by, a guy is shown who is making a deal with women. He explains to the woman that the house owner is staying at the rooftop and not to disturb him, and the owner has meeting people. After the lady agrees to the terms, then the contract is signed. Sean is shown who is looking at the monitor and typing. His room is filthy and garbage are present everywhere. He spends his time researching about the company and background of bullies. He receives a message in his smartphone. A nurse has come to visit him. She complains that no one lives like this and that she wants to complete her today's task quickly since she has got a date. After her duties is completed, she tells him to not to live his life like this and to at least go to outside. Seong checks his smartphone and opens Facebook. He tries to read the message of the bullies but fails to read it, so he hacks the app and reads the message. He finds out all the conversation and is angry since all the bullies are enjoying their life. Afterwards, slowly, the scene is shown of outside the earth, where a sword is falling. It falls onto the rooftop of our main character. Seong is shocked to hear the sound of the crash. He is scared to go outside but eventually does. He is shocked to see sword in front of him. He is confused. How can a sword be here? Even the door to the roofway is locked. He doesn't care how the sword got there, and just goes back to his room and falls asleep. He has a dream, in which there are thousands of soldiers. He sees the army of monsters that are marching towards the soldiers. The commander of soldiers is holding the same sword. He feels a shockwave and sees that the monster has devoured the commander. Xiong is shocked at the sight and finally regains his consciousness from the dream. He starts hearing noise outside. When he goes to check it out, and he is shocked to see that the sword is on fire again. After witnessing the burning sword, he rushes to his bathroom to bring water. He tries to carry a bucket full of water but fails to lift it. After pouring half the water, he is finally able to lift it. He rushes and pours the water but nothing happens, and keeps on pouring until the flames are out. After finally exterminating the flame, he is exhausted and notices that there was tap over there. After that, he goes to sleep again, and at sharp 12 o'clock the sword catches fire again. Xiong just opens the tap and pours water at the sword. After doing the same thing every day, Xiong decides to find the answer online. He thinks that the sword is possessed, so he decides to perform ritual to exterminate it. After failing to do so, he gets pissed off and decides to break the sword, so he decides to attack it with a hammer. But to his surprise, the hammer breaks into. He is so pissed that he decides to attack with a baseball bat, but the bat is reflected and he gets hits on his head. There is a bump in his head. He gets so angry that he decides to pull out the sword. The flame starts to burn even though it is not midnight. The memory of otherworldly character enters inside Xiong. Xiong passes out holding the sword. When he regains the consciousness, he is surprised to see the sword in his hand. He has a hard time moving the sword. The sword is longer than his height. He starts to train with the sword as the previous owner of the sword. He injures himself in the process of training. After getting injured, he calls nurse asking to be fixed. She is so shocked by looking at his condition. After learning that he was exercising, she bursts into laughter. She receives complaint from the residents of the building that he has been going crazy and screaming at night. Xiong says he was frustrated, so he did those things. After the nurse leaves, Xiong checks under the bed and takes out the sword. Xiong starts to hear voices in his mind. After learning the sword's movement online, he starts practicing. When he gets injured, he calls nurse and after recovering, he starts to train again. He wants to go running outside but is too scared since he remembers him getting bullied. After finally getting courage, he throws all the trash outside and cleans his room. He regularly starts training. When the nurse comes to visit him, she is shocked to see how much he has grown and buffed up. 1 year later, Jung Sung-cheol becomes the 21st president of Korea. After receiving a call from Singjin Group President Lee, Sung-cheol revealed that it is time for their children to come back. 3 bullies named Eugene, Jung-hak, and Suho returns back to Korea, where they are greeted by their friends Young-dang, Young-dahu, and Chung-sung. They are happy to finally reunite together. Ings asks Chung-sung whether he has found where Xiong lives. After getting confirmation, Young wants to go and bully again. Xiong answers call and asks him if he is ready to go to the school. After consulting her, Xiang hang up the phone. Xiang just wants to get his revenge. One security guard reaches to the building and after confirming the location where Xiang is staying, he informs Chang-suk. Hyuk is disappointed that Chang-suk could not even get the picture of Xiang. Chang-suk says that dude never even steps outside of his place. Chang-suk wants to ask his uncle helps to bargain. Eun-guk is happy with Chang-suk's suggestion. He reveals that Lee Seong was actually invited by Yakuza. Chang-suk was shocked. Eun-guk explains that Lee Seong and Seung-jung met some friends while they were in Japan. Seong reads all the messages of them where Kim asks both Lee Seong and Jang-soo to return back quickly. Seong is also waiting for them to reunite so that he can get his revenge. Finally, Lee Seong and Jang-soo, they are meeting their Japanese friend. Lee Seong received message that the other guys are going to bully Seong and that they were both waiting for them. After that, two thugs are shown who has come to kidnap Seong. One thug breaks in and searches for Seong. After a long time passes by, his partner doesn't return back. And to check what's going on, he goes to the rooftop. When he goes to the door, Seong grabs his face and pulls him in. After leaving the car at road for a long time, some traffic officers charges ticket for it. The cops are discussing and one cop says that the people who drives car like this just leaves their car. Another cop says that this building falls under special surveillance. That the order comes from top, so they have to check this place for time to time. Hyuk and Chang-suk are waiting but after not getting any replies, Chang-suk calls Uncle Mira Credit Agency President Choi Jong-sang. After learning that his boys are not back from the work, he is pissed and calls them. But Seong has already taken care of them. After that, the scene shifts towards Yu Seong and Jang Seung, who are being welcomed by Nam Hong-jung from Secret Service of Blue House. Liu Seung meets his teacher Yang. Nam Hong-jung takes Jang Seung-jung with her since she was instructed by the president to bring his daughter. Choi Chang-chang calls Yom Dong-suk, who is Team 2's leader of Mira Credit. Yom Dong-suk confirms with all his men whether anybody has got any information about those two guys who went missing or not. After finding out the location of their last chance, he goes there and finds car of the thugs. After finding out the time the car got towed was 10:21, this morning he was in dilemma about what they were doing all this time. When President Choi Jong-chang comes to the office and finds all the men are missing, he asks where all the men have gone. After finding out that Yom Dong-sung has called all the people for backup at Seong's villa, Jong Jo-suk is angry and scolds Yom Dong-suk, in which Yom replies that this is the place where those two boys went missing, and he feels something is off about this place, so he called all the boys to check this place out. After getting permission, he tells his boys to enter the place. All the boys enters the building. The building is filled by the gang member. All the gang members are taken care by Xiong. And by looking at the scenes, Xiong is so scared. He is so scared that he freezes and gets his face hit by Xiong. The people living in the building calls the cop after hearing screams after the gang members went inside the building. After receiving the complaint, two officers goes up to check the situation. After finding out that the gate to the rooftop was open, they goes to check it. They knock at the door and tells to open the door. Xiang opens the door and one officer points his teacher to Xiang. And when another officer asks, "What are you doing?" he tells him to look behind him. When he looks at the scenes, he's so shocked to see the bodies of the gang members. The cops are so frightened at the scenes. So guys, this is my real voice. It doesn't sound as good as using TTS, but due to the monetization issue of using text-to-speech, I'm using my real voice. I'm trying to improve my voice, but still have not been successful. If you guys have any suggestion, you can comment on the video.